All right, so here we are. Today we're looking at Origo Slate for teachers as well as for the students. And we're just going to walk through a practice program and just see what it looks like from both perspectives. So I'm logged into Clever, and that's what we do with our school and in our district. And I'm going to click Origo Slate. Now this is the one that's designed for teachers. This is the one over here, the red one, is designed for students. Your students may see the teacher version within Clever, but if they click on it, it's going to tell them they don't have access. So just keep that in mind. You're going to want to direct them towards the red Origo Slate for students. So I'm going to click on this one because I'm the teacher, and it's going to log me in using my Clever credentials. And what you want to do is first take some observations when you log in. It's going to give you this fundamentals game boards overview. I can see I'm in the overview section. But we have the ability to add favorite games. We could build playlists. Here's a practice playlist. I've just created a new one. And there's a glossary, support. There's all sorts of different things here. But what I'm going to do is go straight and jump into an activity. So the way to do that is you go to Start, you go to Titles, and then you get all these different activities. There's dozens of them. So you can search for one by name if you know the name. There's strands, there's grades, or there's content areas. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use add-on basic addition facts. Now if I hover over this plus symbol, I could add it to my favorites. I could add it to a new playlist. If I had already selected a playlist, I could add it to my selected playlist. I'm not going to do any of that right now or in this video, but let's just jump in and check out this activity. So I'm going to click add-on. So here I am as a teacher. Here's my add-on activity, and I want the students to be able to see this board, this game board, while I'm explaining the directions. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down to this area right here, and I'm going to click cast this resource, the little square with a Wi-Fi symbol, and you'll notice it gives me this code right away for a viewer. So what I'm going to do is click this pop-out window. And this is just going to make the code bigger so I can tell my students I want them to type in the code A7LW7K. All right, so that's this code that the students need to use. Now, let's pretend we're a student. We're going to do both views right now. I have my teacher tab up here, but I'm also going to go to Origo Slate as a student. So again, as a student, I'm clicking the red one through Clever, and it's going to ask for an access code. That's the code that I just showed you as a teacher. All right, and then they're going to type in their name. I'm just going to select practice student, and then they click join. Now here's the thing you want to observe. Remember, this is the student perspective. It looks identical, except right now it says this resource is locked during casting. All right, and that's important to notice because although they'll be able to see what you're explaining, it's not like a one-to-one correspondence. And what I mean by that is this. Let me go back to the teacher screen. So here I am as a teacher. You'll notice I can click and draw the cards. I can move the counters. I can do all sorts of different things. But now if I go back to the student screen, the student didn't see any of those counters move. So that's just something you're going to want to keep in mind while you're explaining this to the student. They're not going to see you dragging the counters over or anything like that, but they will see the board. All right, so let me go back to my teacher board, and here's how you can make it so the students can interact with it themselves. If I press this pause casting button, all right, I'm on the teacher screen and I just press pause. Now I'm going to go back to the student view. So here's what the student would see. Now notice it doesn't have that locked message, and now the student can go through and do different things. So you just want to make sure you as a teacher pause it so that way they can interact with the activity when you're done explaining the direction. Now as a student, let's say I have a question I want to ask my teacher. I could click this messages icon down here and I could enter a new message. I could have it go to all, and that would be all the students that are here, or I could have it go to directly to my teacher. I'm just going to say I need help with this game, and click enter. If I go to the teacher screen, I get this pop-up that says, my practice student says I need help with this game. And I can reply, I'll say, okay, hang on please, and I'll send it. And then if I go back to the student screen, they get the message that I gave them. So, if you're doing small groups in your classroom and you see that pop up, it may be helpful just to have that opened on your screen, the Origo Slate tab, so that way you could just be available for student messages or questions if they have it. But that's a short version of how this works. Hopefully that's helpful, and lots of good activities and lots of interactive math games to utilize with your students.